Hey Brick fans, and welcome to the Brick Bakery, where all our jokes are half-baked. I'm Jacob, Space Month continues, and today it's time for Let's Build. Today we are having a look at the 6339 Shuttle Launch Pad, which is a set from 1995 that consists of 536 parts and 4 minifigs. The 6339 Shuttle Launch Pad is part of the Launch Command theme. There was a sub-theme under the Town theme that ran in the middle of the 90s. Actually, this theme only ran in 1995, which is quite interesting, I think, and I don't know why it only ran for 1 year. But it also introduced a new logo for the LEGO Town Space Agency, a logo with a red and blue half circle and a top view of a stylized space shuttle. But without further ado, let's have a look at this build. So here is the manual for this build. I think it is a really impressive one because there's so much going on. The build is spectacularly big and the things in the background look very, very great. See the moon here and something that looks like maybe a sunset with this yellowing sky right here, and we have a satellite dish and another launch ramp here in the background. The LEGO Town Space Agency must be very, very big if they have 2 launch ramps, and of course the main build right here in the middle. On the back we have a couple of alternate builds which actually surprised me quite a bit. This is sort of a crane situation, and down here there's a racetrack, much akin to some of the older racetracks in the LEGO lineup. But without further ado, let's have a look at this build. The launch ramp of this set is on 1.5 base plates, and they look great. I really like these stripes right here, and this one is pretty cool too, and just a regular 16 by 32 base plate, half base plate, to finish off everything like this. But I'm pretty sure we're gonna start with the shuttle, so I'll put these away for just a second. This green plate is here to hold these panels because these stickers go over 2 panels, and if I didn't do this they will probably break, or they would probably break, I'm pretty sure. So I've stored them like this because that keeps them together and there's less risk of them breaking. So yeah, that's why I've done it like this. So here we see the result of displaying such things as these in a windowsill. This was something I did back in the end of the 90s, I think. I had these space sets standing out as a display, and they soaked up a lot of sunlight. So this yellowing right here is because of that. Now I couldn't dunk these in something that could bleach them because this sticker was on here, and if I did that, this sticker would come off, and that would be a shame too. So it was, you know, I had to sort of estimate whether or not I wanted the sticker there or I wanted it to be white. So in my opinion, it's better with the sticker, even though the white is now more yellow. And that's the shuttle finished. Now we'll move on to the booster rockets and the big fuel tank. As you can see, most of the fuel tank here is actually still together, and that's because of these stickers here. Now I don't know why I insisted on putting these on the split here, because in the instruction book it's actually made to look like it's not supposed to be right there, but for some reason the very young me decided to put these on those brakes, and hence I haven't been able to take this one apart without breaking the stickers. And you can see the result of displaying it in windowsill here as well. It's this very, very, very obvious stripe of yellowing, but for the same reason as with the others, this couldn't be dunked in anything that could bleach it because these stickers were on there. So yeah, we're gonna have to live with this. And here is the rocket boosters and fuel tank. I really like the modular design of this. It's just really cool. Of course, this fuel tank for the actual shuttles, the NASA shuttles, would have been a more orange brownish color, and I believe they've rectified that in some of the later space exploration themes. But this one is gray, and I think it looks quite good actually. And on we go to the launch ramp itself. Alright, that's the launch ramp transport ramp pad thing, which is now done. And this is pretty cool too. I like the grey and the realistic look of it. That's pretty cool. The last time I saw this type of manual drawing was in the Enchanted Island, and I think these are very helpful compared to this. I mean, this is much easier to count out what's going on right here, but not as easy to do it up here. So that's very useful. And this is one of the difficulties with with having to save old strings like this. You've got to leave in all the bricks that's going to be attached to the string if you don't want to break the string or try to untie the knot or anything. So I've left everything in here. So now we've got to see if I can actually manage to get all this put into the right place. Here's the finished set, the 6339 Shuttle Launch Pad, and I remember having a lot of fun with this one. I think this might be the set that I've played with the most as a child, if I don't count my Lego train. It is such a wonderful set with so many great play features that, yeah, it's just great. It's every boy's dream, I think. There's of course two main features of this set. There's the main tower for storing and hoisting the fuel tanks, and then of course there is the launch ramp in itself where the shuttle can launch into space and get going on its mission. And of course there's a little control room right here which is quite close to the launch ramp itself. I don't know if this is completely safe. I think the overall impression of this set is one of amazement. I think the size and the scope of this is really impressive. This is only 536 bricks, and I think it looks like it is a lot more. But that's also because there are some quite large pieces in here. There's a lot of these pieces right here. I believe these are 5 tall and 2 wide, which are some of those bricks that really can get you going when you're trying to build something big. And these long pieces right here, of course, take up a lot of room as well. So while there's a lot of parts, it's also big parts, which makes this set take up a lot of room. Before I go into any details on this set here, I'd just like to say that I think I like this more than the current generation of space sets and launch pad, because this one has a base plate, and I'm not sure that's something we've had for a long time in any LEGO set. We need to bring back base plates. But let's go on into some of all the details of this set. First of all, there is the shuttle, and this shuttle is identical to the shuttle from the Shuttle Transcon 2 set, which I've reviewed previously, and you can check that out in the link up here, so I won't go into too much detail on this one. However, I would like to say that this is still an awesome shuttle. I do like the look and how it replicates the look of the real American space shuttle. That is quite impressive when you consider that this is only a 4-stud wide build. There's of course still a payload inside, which is quite cool, this little satellite, and there's still this wonderful little crane arm right here. So it's the exact same shuttle that has the exact same functionalities, and I think it is really, really great. Next up, there's the fuel tank with the booster rockets, and this is where I think this set really starts to shine, because it has the same functionality as the real space shuttle would have, where these booster rockets can detach once they've been depleted of their fuel, and the shuttle itself can keep on going with this fuel tank attached, so it has enough fuel to get into space. And even though this is grey and the real thing might be a brownish orange color, I think this one looks great. And I like that there's some stickers on here that sort of gives you a sense of the stages of this rocket. 3, 2 and 1, all indicating a stage of fuel, I believe. And of course that little logo up here, which looks great. And I really like how they've used some Technic pins to pull this together and use these rounded panels here to make it look like a fuel tank. It's very efficient and some very large pieces that makes this very, very big indeed. The same goes for these small booster rockets here. There's a Technic pin inside to keep it all together, which is kind of smart, I think. Makes it really, really sturdy and seems very, very, very swooshable. And then there's the transport launch ramp thing in itself. This one is pretty realistic, I think, with the choice of colors being grey, yellow and black. Gives it a very, very industrial look, and I think that is quite perfect. I like how they managed to get this one to ride very close to the ground by utilizing a brick on the outside of the wheels, which gives it this very, very low and very realistic feel. And I think it's also pretty cool how they have used tiles to make smooth surfaces for where the shuttle is supposed to stand in this. This is a great little build, and these two arrow prints here really gives it the last sense of an industrial look, which is great. The main feature is of course the tower that has some great functions. This one is meant for the fuel tanks. I'll be sure to show you the play functions in just a bit. And then of course there is the crane that's very useful for hoisting the shuttle and the fuel tank and boosters up and down. And I think the tower here really manages a great industrial look by using these red Technic pin pieces right here, which really gives it a sense of stability, and also I think actually lends some stability to the model. So it's both looking good and is very functional. And using these classic fence pieces here is a great idea. They really add that sense of some wire, mesh wire that's meant to keep stuff out of the very fragile equipment that is stored here. A thing that really makes this set stand out to me brick-wise is the extensive use of these 1x2x5 blocks here. There's 24 of these in this set, which is just an immense amount and is one of the reasons why this set gets to seem so big, I think. But it's also kind of necessary when you consider the functionality that this set needs to have. There's also some pretty clever use of these door rail pieces right here, which makes it possible for this to slide in and out with the fuel and booster tanks, which is very cool indeed. And I'm amazed how well it actually slides. It seems as there's no resistance at all, and that is very well done, I think. The same technique has been used for the crane, which can slide forwards and backwards like this. And of course, the winch itself can lower and raise this part of the crane. The extensive use of these Technic bricks here also gives it a great industrial feel. And I think this might be the first time that I've had any of these bricks in this size when I'm thinking back to when I was a child. Of course, these types of pieces are used extensively in, for instance, Star Wars sets presently, and the sort of sharp definition between Technic Lego and regular Lego is sort of starting to fade a bit as people discover the advantages of these Technic pieces here. Personally, I'm not very good at using these pieces for anything else than just using them as patterns, but I have seen a lot of people using these in very, very creative ways, and I think that is very, very impressive. The Baseplate has this wonderful locking mechanism for the launch ramp, which is very, very simple, but I think very, very cleverly done, and very, very functional indeed. The pattern on the Baseplate looks great too. I really like these stripy zebra pattern right here, and this cross here also gives it a very nice industrial airport-like feel. And these small lights here I think really gives the last extra thing to this build, because you can almost hear that alarm blaring out when the platform is moving into its position. Of course, there's also the sign that indicates that this is the LEGO Town Space Agency. Unfortunately, mine is very, very discolored because I displayed it in a window at some point, and there's a little hair caught underneath the big sticker. And this, of course, illustrates a problem with LEGO from the 90s. These big stickers would go across different bricks, so you can never really pull these bricks apart if you wanted to, because this sticker would break. Of course, you could break the sticker, but then you would be out of sticker. And so you had 3 pieces here that would lock down as a sign forever. But I do think that this logo looks very cool. I like the 2 half circles, and this little V thing over here really, really adds a nice little detail. And this stylized shuttle looks very cool as well. And lastly, there's of course this control room, which is kind of funny. I don't know, I think it's weird to think that the control room would be this close to the launch pad itself, but maybe it makes sense in a LEGO reality, I don't know. And you might be thinking, well, this is just a control room for the tower and the crane, but that doesn't really make sense, that there's a picture of a satellite on this screen right here, and also some kind of altimeter or something over on this screen. So I think it is definitely something that has to do with controlling the satellite and giving support to the shuttle crew when they are out in space. But there is of course this very, very handy row of tools here in front. Really like this little drill, and this oil can is great too. These were very, very new to me. I'd never seen them before way back when, and it seems that some of these are still available presently. I think these especially are available in blue in some of the Friends sets. And I like how these stickers used on these glass plates here really makes it look like a sort of modern computer screen, which is very, very nice. I really like that. And inside the control room there's a turny chair, which is very nice. And there's a small keyboard, a radar screen, and a videotape, or at least a tape. And I guess this is where this set is really showing its age. It's true that at some point in time people would store data on tapes like this, but I believe that is something that doesn't happen anymore. I imagine a magnetic tape like this would be kind of fragile, and yeah, no reason to store digital data on this anymore. And behind the control room there is this little holder for a couple of walkie-talkie radios, which are of course very useful for the workers in and around the launch pad. And then there's of course the minifigures. The minifigures are mostly identical to other minifigures in this theme. These 2 are the ground support personnel, which are very, very cool. They have a wonderful torso print with a small ID badge and the logo of the space agency. Faceprint is pretty cool too, with that little radio microphone they can use to communicate with one another over long distances. The astronaut is pretty neat too, and has a wonderful print here on his torso. I like those small electrical things that's there. I don't know what they are, some kind of gauges, measurement stuff. I don't know precisely what it is, but it looks very, very astronaut-like. And again, the little logo, which is just as neat as on the other figures. This figure stands out because of this spectacular visor that has some very, very great mirroring effects, which actually works. Don't know if you can see, I'm waving. Yes, waving. So that looks very, very cool and very, very convincing. Looks very much like the real thing. Underneath his helmet, he has the same face print as the other guys. And lastly, of course, there is this guy who is referred to as a scientist. He has a very nice mustache and glasses on his face, and his torso print is pretty nice too. I really like that blue tie detail and the way that it looks like it is a short jacket rather than a suit is very, very neat too. And as is usual, there is no back printing on any of these because these are from the 90s. I really like the minifigures in this set, and I like how close to reality they are. Where other LEGO space sets and themes are much more science fiction-esque, this one is all about realism, and I really like that. And I think these minifigures hit that note very nicely. And before we move on to illustrating the play functions that is in this set fully, I thought it would be interesting to just take a quick look at the last pages, this is page 44 and 45 of the instruction book, where there's actually a complete instruction for the sequence that you're supposed to use when you want to launch and prepare and launch your shuttle. So that is actually pretty neat, I think. I don't think I've ever seen this many instructions for how to actually play with the set, but this is very neat. And on the very last pages, there's a photo documentary on how these things are launched. Looks very, very neat, I think. That was the 6339 Shuttle Launch Pad, which was the biggest set I had in my childhood. And what a set it is! I now understand completely why I used so much time playing with this one when I was a kid. The assembly and hoist function, everything just seems to fit together. It's almost like, you know, a dance or something. It's magic. Everything just fits together so nicely. Everything has been thought out so well in this set that it's just one of my favorites. I really like it. I would like to see a comparison of this to the new launch pad that just came out this year, because such a comparison would be interesting, I think. But that's all for me today. I hope you'll comment, like, and subscribe, and I hope I'll see you guys next Monday.